Yeah, I know, you read the title. I know the cliche thing to say is that Sonic had a rough transition from 2D to 3D, but I disagree. In fact, I would argue the opposite. I would argue Sonic Adventure 1 is better than Sonic Adventure 2. Now, I feel it's important to state this is obviously just my opinion. Games are an art form, and art is subjective. What I find fun, you may not, and vice versa. I also think that these are both great games. I'm simply saying which one I enjoy more. If you disagree with anything I say, feel free to say so in the comments, and while you're down there, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. It's free, and unless you turn on notifications, it won't bother you at all. All it does is inflate my ego. Also, it's important to note that this is my first time doing a video like this, so if you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. Now then, let's start with some layups. Sonic Adventure 2's soundtrack completely blows SA1's out of the water. It is far superior in every way. And on the opposite side, treasure hunting is far superior in Sonic Adventure 1 because you can track more than one object at a time. I still can't believe that's something they cut. Sonic Adventure 1 also has its characters laid out, so once you select a character, you play as only them for their entire story instead of being dragged from character to character. Now that that's out of the way, since all the gameplay styles in Sonic Adventure 2 are from Sonic Adventure 1, I will go character to character and explain why it's done better in SA1. So, let's start with the man himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic has had a variety of gameplay styles throughout the year, from 2D platforming to linear boosting. His different styles really help separate the different eras of Sonic. In Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic's levels are large, open, mostly flat areas for Sonic to run around in. Still linear, but leaving enough room to stop and stretch your legs. However, in Sonic Adventure 2, the levels are incredibly linear, and mostly downhill. The reason for this is obvious. It makes Sonic feel faster. My issue is in Sonic Adventure 2, I find myself not wanting to move the control stick any way but forward, out of fear of the character turning improperly and losing all momentum. Meanwhile, the game keeps pushing you down a hill or placing you in an automated loop. Sonic Adventure 2 kind of feels like the inverse problem of the boost formula. Whereas in boost games, Sonic usually controls like a tank if you try and stop and look around and feel more built for a straight line, Adventure Sonic feels more built for large open areas, and trying to force him in a straight line just feels weird and hard to control. Next up is Tails. We'll talk more about the mech sections when we get to Gamma, but for now, let's talk about him in SA1. I love his control scheme. He's basically just Sonic, but he can fly, encouraging you to take fun, new, creative shortcuts. The only thing I don't like is having to race Sonic. I would much prefer if he just had his own levels and his own style, which you would think would be something they would do with the sequel since they've had more time. But we'll get to that. Since I already talked about Knuckles, I'll sum it up as this. SA1 Knuckles is better, and I've never heard anyone argue that. Then, I'll be honest, Amy and Big are... yeah, I'll just take the L on them. Amy is just slower, clunkier Sonic, and Big is... well, he's big. Obviously, there's an argument to be made about downtime and a different perspective, but overall, neither of them are fun to play. Them not being playable in SA2 is a net positive. Gamma is so much better than Tails and Eggman in every single way. Gamma's much faster than both of them, with him being able to retract in his cute little shopping cart looking thing. But also, it's always bothered me how Tails and Eggman's mech's legs are completely disconnected from their torso, so the turning and aiming just feels very clunky, especially mid-air. I don't know how to describe it, but play both back to back. You'll see what I mean. Basically, Gamma's more responsive. So that's basically it as far as gameplay, but what about the story? Obviously, Sonic Adventure 2 has Shadow, which is far superior to everything in Sonic Adventure 1, but it would have been better if he just stayed dead. Both games do a great job of making the stories feel connected. The only issue I have is the way SA2 goes about doing it. I know I already briefly mentioned it, but going from Sonic to Tails to Knuckles to Sonic to Tails is just so annoying. For example, in the Dark story, including boss fights, there are 22 levels. You wanna know how many of them are Shadow levels, aka the good ones? 7. Less than a third of the game is the good part. Now obviously a similar argument can be made for SA1, but at least in SA1 if I want to play Sonic's story I don't also have to do treasure hunting and mech stages. Another minor point is the adventure fields. I know some people enjoyed them, but just me personally I am happy they're gone. If you know what to do, they're fine, but I found myself getting lost on my first playthrough a lot. But yeah, that's basically all I have in the form of an argument. This wasn't really a video to try and convince you, although if it did, that'd be great. But it was more just a way to spark some discussion, hopefully. Overall, if you agree with me, feel free to like and subscribe. if you're a reasonable Sonic Adventure 2 fan and disagree with me, feel free to leave your opinion in the comments. I'd love to continue the discussion down there, and we can have a reasonable discussion about our different opinions. And if you're an unreasonable SA2 fan, yeah, just leave the dislike and hate comment. I'm sure this will get more. If this gets more than 20 views, there'll be at least a couple of those. For those curious, I'll probably do a Sonic Frontiers review when that comes out. I won't be able to play it, but I can do a review, because I don't have a way to record footage on a console, and my PC cannot handle that. And thank you for watching. I have no idea when I'll upload again other than my daily shorts, so don't bother asking me. Bye.